All right, so today I'm joined with by Linda Duffy with Ethos Human Capital Solutions. Linda, thank you so much for joining me. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks so much for inviting me in. I started Ethos. It's coming on 11 years now, hard to believe. Yeah, 2007. We are a small but mighty HR consulting firm, so we do recruiting, training, and HR consulting for small to mid-sized businesses.
Great, great. Awesome. 11 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Height of the recession.
There you go.
Always start a business when you have like no clients and
there you go. So in your business, you're probably called on a lot of times when employers are struggling or making mistakes. Maybe give our viewers a sense of the top 3 mistakes that you usually see people making when it comes to HR and things that they would call you about.
Wow. Yeah, I would say like one call I got yesterday as an example was from a client. She's had a very long-term employee who hasn't been performing and it has never gotten better. You know, I said that trend doesn't usually change.
She's just hoping.
She's hoping, right? And so unfortunately what happens is now, you know, it gets complicated by health issues and, you know, he needs to go on leave of absence, but she wants to fire him and those type of things. So I think waiting too long to actually take action is a problem that I see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one that comes to mind right away. We do a lot of audits. We see a lot of mistakes. Just employers don't know the correct forms you need when you hire and fire in California, and they're very specific about that. They don't know, for example, how complete the Form I-9 correctly,
Sure.
things like that that could get audited by an agency, so that's another thing we see.
So all those typical hiring, firing, any kind of HR-related documents that the California employers are especially required,
Yes.
you would come in and take a look at all those and kind of give them an overview, review, and also implement ones that may be missing.
Absolutely, right. So our audits are really extensive. We look at everything that they're doing, both from a best practices standpoint and also from a compliance standpoint, and then we would make recommendations to them. So we see a lot of things when we go out to do an audit of what they just don't know, because
Right.
how do you keep up with all of this?
California law is changing. They have 96 new laws just in this 1 year alone. So, I mean,
Constantly.
unless you have an expert, it's got to be very difficult to stay on top of it.
I think it's really difficult for people. So those are the first 2 things that come to mind anyway.
So, you work with businesses of all sizes and in different industries, but typically, what's the one thing that kind of triggers people to say, you know what, we've been doing this in-house, or we've been doing this with people that aren't really trained, but they're like, you know what, I really need to reach out to someone like you. What triggers do you see?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of those are like, they wait too long,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I'd say there's 2 types of clients that call us. Some that really want to be proactive. They know, like, hey, I'm really good at running a business, but I don't know anything about HR. And I would
Sure.
say, yeah, and I wouldn't know how to run your business either, right? So I think there's people like that want to be proactive, maybe because they don't sleep well at night, worried about the what ifs, or that's just their style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to try to make sure all their ducks in a row up front. But unfortunately, I think the majority end up calling us after there's a problem. So they're getting sued, they have a wage and hour violation, something like that. That's when we get a lot of
Something that
those
triggers
calls.
them that now they've forced into action and they realize, oh, I
Right.
better take something.
Or a threat of it, right? Or
Oh.
an employee says something and they go, ooh,
Yes.
like, that
Yes.
doesn't seem good to me. And
Yes.
then we get called in. Yeah.
Great. Maybe give us a recent client success story or a client you really enjoyed working with, talking a little bit about the client to the degree you can disclose and kind of how you helped them and maybe the success that arose out of that engagement.
Okay. Let me think about that one for a second.
All right.
So one client I've been working with probably for the last couple years now, 3 or 4 years, we've done pretty much everything for them. So we've done some recruiting for them. I just got done with the management training program for them. And then we provide them with their HR, like ongoing HR consulting. So we offer, one of the things that we do is we offer what we call our on-demand plan. So it's a flat monthly fee. They can call us all day, every day, text message, email, whatever they want to get answers to some basic questions. And so we've been working with them. And what I've seen with their business is just we've really supported them in their growth over the years. So when we first started, and the business is only like probably less than 5 years old, so we started it early with them, right? So we've really built their HR infrastructure for them. We've really worked closely with them in training, developing their managers, because they're all like first-time managers, right? And so trying to give them some skills and some support. So that's one that comes to mind right now.
So, and when you offer that kind of on-demand service, which I think is amazing, right? You're giving them, the client, the ability to reach out at any time to answer those questions. Once they feel comfortable, do you feel like that they're apt to take advantage and to really utilize that service, you know, and to engage and ask those questions that may be difficult or the answers maybe they don't want to hear?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that, again, the clients are all different, right? So we have some clients that go on the plan because they want to know that we're there when they, you know, that when they need us. And, you know, we return those calls as quickly as possible, right? Always the same day. So for them, I think they just like the security of knowing that we're around. And there's other people that they will call us for anything and everything, right? Which is good, though.
Good, right,
I'd rather have that, right?
Yes.
Because I'd rather them be proactive. I'd rather them go, you know what, I'm not exactly sure that I'm doing this correctly or something like that. I'd rather have that conversation up front. But we get calls on everything you can imagine and then some, right? So it can be basic like wage and hour stuff or things that are one-offs like I've got this hourly employee who's going to travel out of state to go to a conference, like how do I pay them, like things like that. Or it could be more in-depth about, you know, like how do I fire this person, or can I classify this person as exempt from overtime or an independent contractor, that law just changed.
Yeah,
so
Supreme Court decision about that.
Huge, right? It's like really wreaking havoc for a lot of
good
my
for your
clients.
business, but unrest for all those businesses.
Yeah, but a challenge for my business as well, right?
Right.
We have a contract recruiter we've outsourced. You know, when we get super busy, we've outsourced things to her, and now I had to call her this week and go, I can't do it that way, I've got to hire you. So, you know, not a big deal. We just make her a part-time employee, but it's those type of things how we advise clients to shift, you know, when there is a change in the law.
Sure. So, I mean, you've been doing this for 11 years now. Give us, you know, a sense of, you know, what you enjoy most about it, you know, in the day-to-day.
For me personally, I think there's two things. One is I really enjoy partnering with like a CEO, sitting down and being really a strategic, trusted advisor to that CEO. So it could be anything. Like I remember a couple summers ago, we worked with this one client. We were in there because he was shutting down his business in California, relocating a call center environment to Florida, relocating the managers to Colorado, right? So we had all of these different things that we were dealing with, from, you know, just taking over the day-to-day HR to helping recruit in Florida to helping, you know, relocation to Colorado, but really thinking through strategically with him what was going to make the most sense in terms of where to put people and how much to pay people and things like that. So I really enjoy that interaction with the CEO or a senior executive. And then my personal, you know, if I could do one thing the rest of my life, it'd be to do training and development work, because I'm really passionate about that. Yeah.
So you like the strategic side, all the messy stuff, but then you can also get the tactical stuff done, and then if you need to train those people so they can carry on and
absolutely
keep the client out of trouble, they're in good hands.
Yeah, I just got done doing some training for a client. Well, for the one client I just mentioned, we just finished a management training program, but I use the DISC assessment a lot in my training. Yeah. And what I really love is the other client that I just did a one-day program. We had 2 4-hour sessions, and it's for a group of coworkers. And it's like you see the light bulbs go on right over their heads. They're like, wow, like I never got along with that person, but now I understand why, right? And so
like, now it's making a lot of sense.
It's making a lot of sense, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's why she is the way she is, or why he is the way he is. And so it takes the, you know, it I don't know, it just like takes the fever down a little bit, right? Yes. So people aren't, you know, as angry about it, and they don't take it as personal, I guess is how I would say it. They get along with coworkers, and I love hearing those stories.
Sure.
I did this training one time for a group of trusted advisors, and someone literally, like after the hour was up, came over and hugged me, and she goes, I think you just saved my marriage. I was like, well, okay, that's...
invoices in the mail.
Right, exactly. But she said, I worked with my husband, and like, I just got it. Like, this is like the root of all of our problems right here, because I was framing it, you know, in a different way she'd never looked at before. So.
DISC is a great tool. It's amazing how when you understand how people really tick, why you're like, oh, that person just doesn't hate me. That's just how they communicate.
It's just how they communicate.
Or, you know, hey, when I need to plan a meeting, I need some advance notice because that just freaks them out. Where
exactly.
I'm like, I just want to go now. Like,
right.
You know, so.
And it's so many things like that, especially like manager to like a direct report. You know, I always tell them like this doesn't mean I agree. It means I hear you. Right.
It means I might go along with that, or I might not. But
I'm thinking about it.
But I'm not going to have to cause that confrontation right here.
Right. But those D managers were just like, okay, let's go.
They're all on board. Didn't you see them? Let's go.
That's exactly what happens. So now everybody's like, oh, like now I see where I had those issues before.
So when you're not running Ethos Human Capital Solutions, what other kind of groups and organizations are you involved with?
Wow. Organizations and groups. Support nonprofits. I'm very passionate about giving to the community, so I've been involved in a lot of different nonprofits. Working Wardrobes is one.
Mm-hmm.
Former board member, I've been a volunteer there and donate my time to that. My bigger passion when I'm not doing this is baseball and hockey. So huge Angels fan, huge Ducks fan. So I was just telling somebody this morning I actually just booked tickets to go see them play in a few other cities. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
The Angels can get healthy, it'd be great because they're struggling right now.
It would be great. Yeah, so that's another thing. And then I've been really into cruises over the last couple of years.
There you go.
So yeah, that's where I like to spend my time.
Great. All right, so now we're going to move on to the lightning round. So these are some of our favorite questions. We're going to put Linda on the hot seat. All right, so here we go.
Okay.
All right, so first off, coffee or tea?
Really neither.
Neither.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke, all right. Cats or dogs?
I like both, but I have a dog right now.
Okay.
King Louisville Slugger.
King Louisville Slugger, very much baseball team.
Very much baseball.
Your favorite app?
Probably Waze.
Waze.
I don't leave the house without. Well, you got to put in perspective. I put 20,000 miles a year on my car, right? So I'm always on the road.
So the most efficient and effective route is super important.
Super important to me. So literally, I do not drive anywhere without putting Waze on. So I have to say that's probably my favorite app.
All right, best book you've read in the last 12 months?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you, I've reread this book in the last 12 months, and that's Patrick Lencioni's The Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Sure.
So I got certified in this program that's tied to DISC, actually, tied to Wiley, who's his publisher, called The Five Behaviors of a Cohesive Team. And so I'm always rereading that book because I use it as a basis for training, and it's an oldie but goodie from my point of view.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got to reread that one. That's a great book.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Other than that, I like to read mysteries, so I read Patricia Cornwell books and John Grisham books and things like that.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us on the show. We really enjoyed conversing and learning more about you and your company. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Tim.
Thank you.